वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। गुरु महाराज की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. This is Harita from Houston, Texas, welcoming you all to the mid-morning Japa session. I thank you all for the ecstatic chanting. Please forgive me for interrupting your ecstatic chanting. Let us move to our next session, that is Sri Caitanya Bhagavata. May I know who all joined the call? Please unmute and introduce yourself.
Hare Krishna, Harita Mataji, wonderful to see you. This is Preeti Vilasini Devidasi from Atlanta. Thank you for your warm welcoming. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. So glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharajas and all the assembled Vaishnavas. This is Kirti Sundridasi. Good to see you. All glories to your services.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you for joining the call, Mataji, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to serve. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Harita Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Nita Gandharvika from Texas. Nice to see you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you for joining the call, Mataji, and thanks for giving me this service, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru and Guranga ki jai. This is Shivani from Ashwin, Virginia. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shivani Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thanks for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. Yashamati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashamati Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees on the call. Thanks for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Nice to see you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisance of Guru Srila Prabhupada. This is Shashidhar joining from San Antonio, Texas. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shashidhar Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you for joining the call, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is the Devi.
Hare Krishna Sudevi, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thanks for joining the call, Sudevi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Harita Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. This is Indulekha Karuna Devi Dasi from Lincoln. So nice to see you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Indulekha Karuna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thanks for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Is there anyone who wants to introduce themselves? If there is no one else, let us move to our next part of the session, which is Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Chaitanya Bhagavata.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let us move to our next session, that is Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Kanda. It's 1.2.255 onwards.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept our humble obeisances. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for joining and giving your valuable time and association to us in this morning call. Before usually we start reading Srila Prabhupada's quote, I would like to read Srila Prabhupada's quote and hand over the call to you, Prabhu. 1 second, I just want to open that. Yeah. Today's Srila Prabhupada's quote, 12th June. Lord Chaitanya, although Krishna himself appealed to his friends and helpers to help him in his mission, and what to speak of me? I am just an ordinary human being, so I need your help. Letter to Yogeshwara, June 12th, 1971. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you once again, Prabhuji, for joining and giving your association. I now hand over the call to you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Vandeyaham Shri Guru Shri Juta Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaganaraganatam Mitam Tang Sajibam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Shaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shibi Shagangitam Cha Mantra Guru Ajota Shika Guru Ganta Chardane Age Gaudiya Bandhan Vancha Kopatrubi Ashta Kripashin Beba Chaputita Nambameba Vaishnava Namo Nama Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutala Shamade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Etanamane Namaste Shai Shri Devi Guruvana Shani Vishesha Shanari Pashta Deshna Hare Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavata Madhya Khanda, 2nd chapter. Text 255. Dekhiya Garjaya Prabhu Kore Hun Kare Muishe Bole Barbar Muishe Bole Barbar Muishe I am he we can consider how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gradually revealed himself to his followers as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It certainly wasn't imminent or obvious from the beginning of his appearance. Even in his youth, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's not revealing himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's thoroughly absorbed in Vidya Lila, in the pastimes as Navadip Chandra, Dvijamoni, the crest jewel of the Navadip Brahmins. Extensive descriptions are given by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur of the Vidya Lila, where we've already come to the end of that now, just at this particular section, the 2nd chapter, Madhya Lila. At the end of the Adikanda, in the Adikanda, Mahaprabhu, he finishes the Vidya Lila. End of the Adikanda, he finishes Vidya Lila. So the Vidya Lila, 10 chapters from, even more, at least 10 chapters, 11 chapters from chapter 7, the Vidya Aramba, Anushthan is there when he's desiring, actually, even at home. Gore, Sharva Shastra, Bhujiya Shamihito, Goshti Majay, Prabhu Bodhite, Hoiluchito. Thakur is describing how Gore, at home, Sarva Shastra, Bhujiya Shamihito, he had already completely understood the descriptions of there. And within a few days, he had mastered all of the letters of the Bengali alphabet, and he was composing the names of Krishna. He was teaching himself the writing Bengali by writing names of Krishna, Murari, Banimali, Bangshi Dadi, and this amused the residents of Mayapur tremendously. And hearing him practice ka. Gaga. Could you imagine the Supreme Personality of Godhead learning how to speak and witnessing that? And at home, actually, Nimai had already he'd already completely mastered all of the Shastra, Shalava Shastra Bhujya Shemihito, completely, Gore at home. Goshti Majay, however, Goshti Majay, within a group, Goshti Majay, within a group of like-minded people, just like we have our friends and that we have our confidence, we spend time with, we share things with them. We don't deal with them in the same way we deal with people in general. We deal with them in a much more confidential way, many secrets, many personal things we share with them regularly. But that's only a handful of people. There's a few people. So things we, probably family members and some other extended family, some dear friends, we share such things with. And that's natural. So how is that natural? Because we're Mama Eva Angsha, we're part of the Supreme Lord, and the Supreme Lord also likes to have confidential relationships. And close relationships and dear friends. So he wants to go to school and develop friendships, and mentions Kamalakanta and Krishnananda and Murari Gupta, the young school friends of Nimai, and the pastimes that they perform. So he wants to play and he wants to go to school. Goshti Majay Prabhu Porite Hoilo Chitto. Goshti Majay, within a group of like-minded friends, Goshti Majay Prabhu Porite, to study Hoilo Chitto. He developed a desire. That's also very fascinating, that it's only in the beginning of that section, which is chapter 6 of Adikonda, that we hear that Mahaprabhu, he has a desire to study with others. We hear that for the first time. So it appears that desire wasn't there before. But Prabhu Goshti Majay Prabhu Porite Hoilo Chitto, it appeared in his heart. It appeared in his heart. So that's very fascinating. That even though he's Sarvagya, he knows everything. Vartaman, Vedaham, Bhavishani, Chabutani, everything happening in the present, the past, the future, I know. But still, he surprisingly, a desire appears. Hoilo Chitto, it appeared. Hoilo, it came into his heart. He started thinking, wow, if I could study with friends, that's fascinating. That when he's performing Lila, he has changes in his thoughts and consciousness and mind, like a person. And it's all simply based upon how the reciprocation with his dear devotees can be further facilitated. He's thinking, let me go to school, and then we'll be able to have interaction with Murari Gupta, with Kamalakanta, with Krishnananda, with Gangadash Pandit, Navadipe Ache, Navadip Ache, Pandit Shiromani, Navadip Ache, Pandit Shiromani, Gangadash, Pandit Hene, Shandipani, the Addapak Shiromani, Gangadash Pandit, Navadip Ache, Addapak Shiromani, the Shiromani, the jewel on the head of Navadip Addapak Gan, the professors of Navadip, Gangadash Pandit. When Nimai goes to study, he's not just going to get some teacher out of convenience because it's nearby and we can get the bus to and from, or because it's a school that's a good reputation, or it's a school that's it's not expensive. All of these reasons, or many friends go to that school. No, he just goes to the Pakshiromani, the topmost, the jewel, the crest jewel of the Navadip scholars. Nimai wants to study under him naturally. Gangadas Pandit, he's Henu Shandipani. He appeared just for this. He took birth just for this. He took birth just to become Nimai's teacher. You imagine that? That's just, everything else is coincidental. It's just to have these pastimes. And Jagannath Mishra, he knew that Nimai desired to study with Gangadas Pandit, had that desire. Hoilo Chitta, Goshti Majay Prabhu, Porite Hoilo Chitto. He knew that. So he took him to Gangadas Pandit. And when Jagannath Mishra, he arrived there, and Gangadas Pandit, he sees him, he stands up. And then they respectfully embrace each other. They sit on the same chair. And then Jagannath Mishra says, I brought my son. I bought my son. There's no other mundane type of interaction like, oh, it's so hard, isn't it? Or can we pay by card, or do we do I need to assist? I brought my son to your shelter. You please, you teach him. And Gangadas Pandit, oh, it is my honor to have such a pupil. I will treat him like my son. And very quickly, Joto Baka Gangadas Pandit Koren Shukret Shunile Matro Thakur Doren. Joto Bakyo, whatever Gangadas Pandit said. Vyakaran Shastrer Egonta Totabit. Thakur Vrindavanas describes the qualification of Gangadas Pandit. Vyakaran Shastrer Egonta Totabit. The very end, Ekanta, as far as you could possibly go in terms of Vyakaran Shastriya Tattva, the truths, the conclusions of grammar of Sanskrit. Vyakaran Shastriya Ekanta Tattavit, learned to the ultimate end. Gangadas Pandit, Addapak Shiromani, Jotobako Gangadas Pandit Koren, whatever he said, whatever words emanated from his mouth. Jotobako Gangadas Pandit Koren, Shukrit Shunile Matro. Hearing it once, Thakur Doren, he remembered, Nimai remembered. This is a quality that regularly manifests in the pastimes of Shishachi Nandan Goshandor and different occasions in the Keshav Kashmiri Digvijay, and he memorizes the whole 100. He repeats one verse. It's not the beginning one, it's not the end one, it's number 54. How he remembers them here, he could have just, in other words, he's saying that, he's indicating that you pick any number, he could recite the verse. Because he just recited the one that had the mistakes. So that means he could, there were many, he could have recited any, he memorized it all. He could have repeated the whole thing. And in this way, he astounded the mind of Keshav Kashmiri and further astounded him with his discussion on the grammar. The Nimai Pandit, who defeated the Digjai Keshav Kashmiri, who the whole of Navadip had become terrified by just hearing his name, that he was coming on the elephant with the parade, with his troubadours and horsemen and followers and entourage, the Digbijai Pandit coming to Navadip. Who can stand before him? Otherwise, Navadip's fame will be diminished, and on the bank of the Ganga. Just spontaneously, Nimai shatters the pride of the Digbijay Pandit by demonstrating this quality. Whatever he heard, and from the very beginning of his studies, he demonstrated this quality. Whatever he heard, he remembered. Whatever he remembered. Goshimajay. So then the Vidya Lila. So prior to the Vidya Lila, there's in the Bala Lila. Then Shachinandan is displaying his opulence. E morte nane babe aishajya dekai ballabha prakatiyo paschat lukai ballabha prakatiyo. When he's in the childhood, that's when the aishajya bhav, the godly, the mystical powers manifest. Paschat lukai, and then when he goes to school, if he starts Vidya then he's not carrying on after 5, after Bal Lila, up to 5 years old. Many examples are there. Just like the sound of ankle bells, they're looking Brahman and Brahmani in both directions. From where is the sound of the ankle bells coming? Our son doesn't wear ankle bells. But what's even more astonishing, that look, the footprints of Sri Hari are all through the cottage. The Shalagram Shila must be coming off the altar at night and walking around the cottage. Oh, Devi, this is our last birth. This is our last birth. Jagannath Mishra. He's thinking his conditioned soul. And he's doing such nice puja that Thakur is giving blessings. Maybe he will be liberated. He's thinking his conditioned soul. and Sachinandan, Gaudhari, Krishna Chandra is living in his home as his son. So just to play with his father says, bring my book. So he's running in, and the sound of ankle bells. Why is that? He's just embellishing the moment. He has his mystic powers. It's just like he's just getting the feel of them. Running in. where the sound of ankle bells coming from? And then the footprints around the house. It's just like he's just getting the feel of his of being in the Adikonde Adikonde the Amrit Shravan Jai Shishurupe Kridakore Narayan Adikonde Kota Jai Amrit Shravan Jai Adikonda Kota Jai Amrit Shravan Jai Shishurupe Kridakore Narayan the Vaikuntanath Supreme Lord Sri Hari Shishurupe is a young child. Kridakore, he's playing games. You know, he's riding on the shoulders of the thieves. It's like a joyride, and they're even passing Sandesh, and he's enjoying it. And they're thinking they're taking him to their hideout, and boom, lo and behold, they put him down in the courtyard of Jagannath Mishra. Well, he runs into the lap of Jagannath Mishra, and they're astonished. It's a mystical. And the Ganga Jal Kela, he's causing such trouble. This is before Vidya Ramba with Ganga Das Pandit. He's just going to some local place and coming back. He's going to some class, but it's not Ganga Das Pandit because that comes later. It's chapter 6, Ganga Jal Kela. Chapter 7, Vidya Ramba with Ganga Das Pandit. Chapter 7 and 8, going to the house, going to the toll of Ganga Das Pandit, which is in the area of the Pach Ghat, in that area, the toll of Ganga Das Pandit, where Nimai would walk from Jogpit and then come back, take bath. So he was giving the every day. Well, that was later when he was going, but before that, he was not going. You're not Ganga Das Pandit, but he was coming back, taking bath in Ganga for several hours. That the Brahmins, they had several times. They had to bathe several times. He would spit water on them. He would throw dust on them. He would spoil their offerings. He would sit on the ashon. He would eat the bhoga. He would put the garland around his neck and laugh. The Brahmins taking bath. What? Yeah, yes. Be satisfied. The object of your puja has been fulfilled. I have eaten. And the Brahmins are chanting Gayatri. He comes up, he grabs their legs, pulls them under the water. He spits in the face. Who are you meditating on? Who are you meditating on? I am the incarnation for the age. Even he steals the deities. He steals the shastra. He switches the clothes. Even the Komaris are not spared. Ama puja karo, ami debo bar, Ganga Durga Dashimor, Mahesh Kinkar. Worship me. Is that same conclusion that Krishna propounds on Kurukshetra, Gita, on the Rat with Arjun, that Manmana Bhavamad Bhakta, Madhya, worship me, Mam Namaskuru, bow down to me. That same instruction, that same conclusion, Mame Kangsharanam, surrender to me, Goshandor on the banks of the Ganga, and then Shishurupe as a child. It's like playing a game. He says the same conclusion. Ama Puja Koro, worship me. He comes, he takes the offerings. They've come to worship Lord Shiva. The young unmarried maidens, Brahminis, Komaris, worshiping Lord Shiva. Brahmin, this is Navadip Bashi, Navadip gone. They're the Brahmins, the Bipra, Rishipara, Navadip Brahmins. Chaturdik hoite log Navadipe jai, Navadipe poile she bidda roshpa. Navadip famous. Navadipe poile, if you study Navadip she bidda roshpa, you get taste for learning. Chaturdik hoite log Navadipe jai. From all directions they were coming to Navadip. Navadip poile, if you study Navadip she bidda roshpa, you get taste for learning. So the Brahmins were there, the society of the Brahmins. Every day they were coming, aristocratic Brahmins, elderly, renowned sannyasis, householders, Brahmanis, ladies, the Kumaris, the Brahmacharis, everybody bathing on the banks of Ganga. That's what the action was. Navadipe Shompotike Bone Bare Pari. Who can describe the opulence of Navadip Dham? Ek Ganga Ghat hai, lok shnan kore, ek Ganga Ghat hai. In one ghat, lok shnan kore, 100,000 people bathing. The Thakur Vrindavan Das is describing for us. Just imagine. So and Goshanda, he was the king of the gods, the king of the gods, the king of the boys, and they were all mischievous, and he was the ek number mischievous. And so he said to the girls, "Ama puja karo, Ami Devo Ba, I will give blessings. Worship me. Ganga, Durga, Dashi more. Ganga, Durga, Dashi more. Ma Ganga, Ma Durga, they're my maidservants. Mahesh Kinka, Lord Shiva, he's my follower." Just when the girls are saying, "Oh, Nimai, don't be so foolish. This is Goshen Avatar, Chaitanya Avatar." They all go and they're making complaints. Sachimata, the girls to Sachimata, the Brahmins, Jagat Mishra. Jagat Mishra, so furious, he picks a stick up, taking a stick, and goes to the Ganga, walking up and down. Where is he looking? Where is that Nimai? Where is he? They said, Vishwambara. "Oh, he hasn't come today." The boys, they call out there in the water, "We're waiting for Vishwambara, he hasn't come yet." He goes back, he's still frustrated, and then he sees coming down a different path, on different bank, Ganga there, wind, the coconut trees, there's no buses, there's no auto rickshaws, no motorbikes. He's walking on the sandy paths, and the breeze is blowing, coconut trees are swaying there, the breeze of the Ganga. Here's some boats out there, some fishermen, Ganga, birds. She's walking on the path, sandy path. There's the chanda, the ink is on his body still. Inked his hair just like it was in the morning. Ink blotches on his body, looking like champa, Shona champa. Just now, Shona champa, golden champa, Shona champa, surrounded by bumblebees. Gauranga, he's got the ink from school. You're seeing him, he's walking down the path. And Vishwambara sees him, Jagannath Mishra sees him. He comes running in, he climbs up on Jagannath Mishra's lap. Putra Darsh Anandai, Guchilo Bichar. Putra Darsh Anandai, when he sees his son, that bliss, you imagine. The Sri Hari, he comes running home, he sees you, he raises his arms, he climbs up on your lap. Jagannath Mishra, he's enjoying this Matsalya Rosh. Putra Darsh Anandai, the bliss of seeing his son and experiencing that embrace. Imagine being embraced by Gaud Hari. Putra Darsh Anandai Guchiro Bicha. He forgot everything about the Ganga, the Brahmins. He just forgot everything. Sneha Punno Hoilo Duha Kichunahi Ar. Sneha Punno. Just completely absorbed in affection. Amma, give the oil, I'm going to take bath in the Ganga. And they're discussing how is it that he could, he must have been, the Brahmins couldn't have been lying, but how is it he comes in the mystic opulence, I showed you Dekai, just to get out of trouble. He's playing like anything, he's into a big thrashing, boom. Mystic opulence, I showed you Dekai, the Supreme Lord, he cruised his son. His father can't do anything, look, he's completely innocent. There's evidence. Now Vidulila, then he's a student. He's a student. Vidulila, even as he matures, Nimai Pandit, Dvijamba, the Dvijamani, the jewel of the Brahmins, he would even ridicule the Vaishnavas. Make fun. Oh, look, they're coming down the street, the Vaishnava, they see me, they walk different direction. Why is that? He asked the student. Oh, but maybe he just remembered some urgent. No. I said, no. They don't want to talk to me because I'm talking about Vyakaran, Alankar. They only want to talk about Sri Hari and his glories. In this way, he's glorifying the Vaishnavas. He's glorifying the Vaishnavas. But he's Brahmin and he's worshipping Lord Vishnu. We see in the Jog Pit, you see the Adhokshaja Vishnu deity. We hear every day Vishwarup would rise, he would take bath in Ganga, he would come worship Shalagram Shila. Jagannath Mishra is worshipping Shalagram Shila. He's performing after he sees the footprints. He asks Sachi Devi to cook the Paramanna and Panchagabya Abhishek for the Shalagram Shila, Damoda Shalagram Shila, the Brahmin Vaishnavas. But he's not performing Shankirtan with the Shankirtan party of Advaita Acharya and Srivas Thakur, Haridas Thakur. The Vaishnavas are already here, assembled in Navadip. They've assembled to prepare for the Mahaprabhu's coming. And the verse we're discussing tonight, the first verse, that I am he, we're coming to it, we're getting to this point. I am he. Yeah. So in the Vidya Lila completely, he's a student in the mood, not in the mood of displaying opulence. This is any incident we can't think of. Of course, he defeats Keshav Kashmiri. He demonstrates his mystic opulence, but still, in the dream, Saraswati Devi, she says that you don't know this Pandit. He's no ordinary Pandit. He's my Prabhu, and therefore, Vila Jamane, out of shyness, I couldn't manifest on your tongue in his presence, Prabhu's presence. So he's my Prabhu, and he's realizing, that Devi, whose Papitra mantra he'd been chanting so devotedly that she gave him blessings. This mantra job, it gives the city, mantra city, job, mantra city. He had the mantra city by chanting the japa. That's what the japa, the rounds. You do enough, you get the mantra city. Because we do to get the prema, Krishna prema, but still, anyway, you get the mantra city. That's just sort of, it just comes along, because you get the mantra cities. The Vaishnavas have the city, their desires become fulfilled. Krishna fulfills their desires. What more perfection do you want? So, Vidya Lila. Yeah, this is okay. Yeah, the remembering, you could remember everything. So he defeated Keshav Kashmiri in the dream. Saraswati Devi, he's my Prabhu. So Keshav Kashmiri, he surrenders to Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Lord. But Mahaprabhu is not further developing that and starting to instruct him and others. No. And then there's an incident there where he goes to East Bengal. This is still in Vidya Lila. This is just after the marriage of Lokhi Priya. So before second marriage not happened yet, the Vishnu Priya. So after Vishnu Priya marriage, still he was Nimai Pandit, still taking classes and teaching. So even at that time, before even giving up the Vidya Lila and beginning the Sankirtan, he did begin in the dream in East Bengal, Rajshahi, Keturi, Rajshahi, he went because so many, the East Bengal, Purva Bengal Bhumite, they couldn't come to Navadip, but that Nimai was famous there. His teachings were famous. So he went to East Bengal, the border, Padma Nadite, Padma River, is Keturi, just near the birthplace of Narottam Mahashai, Rajshahi district. And he stayed there for 3 months on the banks of Padma River, and many people came. Even he gave certificates. Yeah. Maybe one of those that would be 500 years old, someone can show a certificate of Nimai Pandit. Maybe he signed them. He gave certificates that mentions to the students. Some, not all, those who did his, I guess, assessment. That time, Lokhi Priya, she left. But at that time, one Brahmin was there, Tapan Mishra, and he had a dream that this Pandit, Brahmin, he's come. He's not just an ordinary scholar, he's Supreme Lord. You surrender to his feet, he'll instruct you. Shadya, Sadhana, Kichu Nahijani. What is Sadhya? What is the goal? And Sadhana, how to achieve it. And that time Mahaprabhu instructed him, Bahu Shisha, what is that? Bahu Ganta Shuniba, not to Bahu Shisha, Bahu Ganta Branta Hoimon. You become bewildered hearing too many scriptures. There's Chaitanya Charamrita. That description is there, that verse is there. Then Mahaprabhu mentions that in the Kali Yuga, Mahaprabhu quotes some Bhagavatam, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nashte Vinashte Vigotinam. He quotes the Harinam. And then Mahaprabhu himself declares that Eshlog Nam Boli Loy Mahamantra, Shlok Nam Boli Lai Mahamantra, Shala Nam Aitrishaka Aitantram. This is the process for the age. I'm telling you now. Shlok Nam Boli, Shlok, I'm saying Lai Mahamantra. It's called the Mahamantra. Shala Nam, 16 names, Aitrishaka, 32 syllables, Aitantra. This is the process. Hare Krishna. Mahamantra. He gives this particular Mahaprabhu. He announces very clearly the process. Aitantra for this age. Shala Nam Aitrishaka Aitantra. So it's very significant. The statement that he makes, fundamental. You could say one word, one line summary of his mission is to establish the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra as the process of deliverance in the age of Kali. And he mentions that to Tapa Mishra, and then he carries on and goes back and again he gets second marriage to Vishnu Priya, but he doesn't carry on preaching or educating people in Krishna consciousness. And then it's only at the end of Adikonda, when Jagannath Mishra has left the world, and then Nimai, he goes to Gayadam for performing Shraddha ceremony, and there he is fortunate. Brahmanda Brahmadekona Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Kripa Bhai Bhakti Lota Beach. It's such a significant meeting. He meets the Ishwar Puri Prabhupada, and there's a major change. It's the end of Adikanda, finishes there. He comes back, he's changed. Maha Ashambhav, what is that? Adbhut Kota, Maha Ashambhav. What is that? This younger brother of Srivas Thakur, in the morning, they're collecting, all the Vaishnavas were collecting the flowers. So on Kunda tree in Srivas Thakur, Srivas Anganai, this Kunda Gach gave flowers all year round. So Vaishnavas would regularly gather at that tree in the morning. And they would be picking flowers for the puja. And the kunda is fragrant. And all year round, that tree gave flowers. So they're always there every morning. And Sri Ram, he comes. That's the younger brother of Srivas Thakur. And he's so elated. And they're all noticing. And they say, well, you're so happy today. What's the news? He said, yeah, certainly it is. And they said, well, what is that? What's that? And he said, well, then you listen. He said that Maha, was that Maha Ashambhav Kota, what is that? The Ashambhav, what's that? Apurva Ashambhav Kota, Maha Ashambhav, Nimai Pandit Hoila, Parama Vaishnav. Maha Ashambhav, that which we never thought would happen. Maha Ashambhav, the most impossible thing. The Apurva, the Maha Ashambhav, that which we never thought would happen. Nimai Pandit Hoila, Parama Vaishnav. Nimai Pandit has become a great Vaishnav. I was there, and when he returned, and he was just describing, he just mentioned Badapadda Tirtha, just mentioning that place where he saw the lotus feet of Vishnu, and he met Ishwar Puri Prabhupada in that holy place. Just by mentioning the place, Badapadda Tirtha, then the tears of love of Godhead, they just burst out from his eyes like a flooding of Maganga. And in this way, he's become a changed person. The Parama Adbhut Kota. Parama Adbhut Kota, Maha Ashambhav, Parama Adbhut Kota, the most Parama Adbhut, extreme, amazing news. Parama Adbhut Kota, Maha Ashambhav, that which is just we never thought would happen. Nimai Pandit Hoilo, Parama Vaishnav. Nimai Pandit has become a great Vaishnav, not that he become a devotee, but he's a Param Vaishnav. Nimai Pandit Hoilo, Parama Vaishnav. Which means he's constantly shedding tears of love of God, and he can never forget the Krishna. He's a darshan of Krishna. He's fully immersed in Pramavesh, and in love of God has completely overwhelmed him. And then he begins to say the Shankirtan pastimes, and still he hasn't revealed himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's just performing Sankirtan pastimes, and that goes on for some time, and even that goes on. Yeah, that goes on for some time before. How long it goes on for after initiation? Well, not so long, because the initiation is chapter 1, Madhya Lila, and there it's describing what happens, how it's being affected by Sachimata, his pastimes at home and everything, and Vishnu Priya, and how they're dealing with his being overwhelmed in love of Godhead the whole time, and he's chasing after the Vaishnavas, and then this chapter. Chapter 2 begins to describe how he's beginning to reveal himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And here to Srivas Thakur, is the first incident where he actually, having become a devotee and not having become a devotee, but having now given up the Vidya Lila, when he came back from Gaya, Shachinanda, and he's sitting in the class, and then the students asking questions. He's just chanting the name of Krishna, Govinda, Murari, Bangshidari, and the students are bewildered. They mentioned that you're Mahashaya, for the last 2 weeks you haven't been following the curriculum. Don't know what you're saying, and even they complained to Gangadas Pandit. But and even in Nimai, he went, and Gangadas Pandit, he took instruction. He recognized his mistake. He said, "Yeah, okay, Gangadas Pandit, he instructed Nimai that yes, it's great that you're a devotee, but you still should be a teacher. Your grandfather, on your maternal grandfather, that's Nilambar Chakravarti, what a famous scholar he was. He was also a great Vaishnav. Jagannath Misra is a scholar, he's a teacher, he's a great Vaishnav. So yes, we're very overjoyed to hear that you become Vaishnav and you carry on teaching. And that's quite acceptable. Yes, Nimai agreed. But then the next day, he's giving the class on the bank of the Gange. He hears when Acharya Ratna from his home is Vaishnav, Shuddha Vaishnav, he's chanting verses of Bhagavatam. He's chanting this verse which is describing how merciful is Putana. Not how merciful is Putana, how merciful was Govinda to Putana. That she came to poison him, and he gave her a position of nurse. As a verse, that third canto. So a Brahmin was reading that verse when the sound of the Bhagavatam entered the ears of Navadip Chandra, he couldn't carry on with the class. He couldn't carry on giving the aphorisms and the Vyakaran, Shidantas and the Alanka. He couldn't carry on. He's just. And he said to the students, I'm just seeing that, I'm talking about that boy all the time. I'm seeing that boy all the time. I'm sorry. I apologize. I can't give class anymore. Closed his books and tied it up in a cloth. And then I said, you can find another teacher. And all the students are looking aghast, find another teacher. After being your students, you think we could possibly find another teacher? Better to have been, at least have been your student sometime and just have that to remember, rather than, even though it's not complete, or it is complete, but to take another teacher and so they all, if you're not teaching, then we're not studying. They all tied up their books, and many joined the Shankirtan movement. And they asked him, how do we worship Sri Hari? And Shachinandan, he instructed them that you clap and you chant Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Gopal Govindaram Srimaru Shudan. He instructed them to chant this mantra, as Goshundar had done on several occasions. So different devotees instructed them to chant the Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Gopal Govindaram Srimaru Shudan mantra, which Prabhupada describes as another form of the Hare Krishna mantra, and can be chanted abundantly. We don't chant it enough in ISKCON. We chant other mantras, but only we should chant. Prabhupada has actually written about chanting Panchatattva Mahamantra, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Nama Gopal Govindaram Srimaru Shudan. In the books, these are the mantras Prabhupada has indicated we should chant. Because Prabhupada's example is there, he chanted Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopala Jaya Jaya, and Nitya Gaud Haribol. Prabhupada also, he didn't mind a lot. He's chanting that in the kirtan, but that's pretty much all we need. But predominantly should be Hare Krishna and Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Prabhupada said, especially in Mayapur. So the boys, they joined, and in this way, he gave up the teaching, and in this way, he's performing Shankirtan with the Vaishnavas, performing Shankirtan, and then this time there's some trouble from the Kazi. Chaitanya Charitamrita describes the whole incident there before the marching on the Chand Kazi's house, which is later, and so it's quite later, described as a later chapter of Madhya Kanda. This is chapter 2 here. It's quite a bit later there, the marching on the house of the Chand Kazi. But there was trouble. There was some rumors that the Nawab Nawab Hussain Shah, actually, where Rupa and Sanatan were in Ramkeli, in Malda, in gold. That's the capital, and it's joined to Mayapur by boat, of course, Ganga, and still you can take the Ganga. That's where Faraka Dam is, in case you wonder where the floods in Mayapur come from. It's a dam. So my Ganga comes down here. From there, and then the boats were coming. The rumor was said the boats were coming down the Ganga, and anyone doing Sankirtan would be arrested. So Srivas Thakur, he was a little bit in anxiety about that. He was worshipping Lord Nrsingadev in a temple. So at that time here, this time when there's this anxiety about the Nawab's soldiers coming and arresting the Sankirtan performers. So then this I am he, Muishe, I am he. Nima is beginning, Nima Chandra, Navadev Chandra, Vishamba, Gaudhari, Shachidula. He's beginning to think that it would encourage the devotees, that they understand that I'm incarnation. I'm Bhagavata. And I've come here to spread the holy name, and so the devotees will be greatly encouraged to hear that. They're already special people. There's Advaita Acharya, Srivas Thakur, Haridas Thakur, the Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord the Vishnu, Mahavishnu. They're already assembled, but they don't know that they're all covered by the Jogmaya. They don't know Lord Brahma is Haridas Thakur. And he doesn't know that Lord Nityananda is Lord Balaram, and that Mahavishnu. They don't know these things. This is Advaita Thakur and Nityananda Prabhu. So he's going to reveal himself. Actually, Nityananda Prabhu is not in Mayapur at this time. Nityananda Prabhu, he's not here. He hasn't joined. He's the last to join. I think he joins in chapter 3 or 4. Next chapter or the chapter after that, he joins. He comes and comes to Mayapur. It's all a nice Lila there. And the first meeting of Krishnandan and Avadut Chandra. This is the temple here behind ISKCON. This Nandanacharya Bhavan, where that incident took place, where they first met. So now Nima is thinking, Navadip Chandra, he's thinking that I'll reveal myself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that'll encourage the devotees. So Muishe is on the bank of the Ganga, and he sees the cows, and some are chewing, some are drinking the milk, and he remembers Vrindavan, I am me, and immediately we'll hear, he runs now. In that mood, Immortal Dhan, Gala Shiva Sher Gore went to Shiva Thakur's house. Ki kori Shiva Ashaya Balaya Hunkari. What are you doing? Nrsinga Pujaya Shiva's Jai Gore, he was worshipping Lord Nrsinga in the temple. Puna Lati Mare Duhari. The Lord's kicking the door. Lord's kicking the door of Shiva's temple. Kaha Puja Karo. Kaha Dhyan, who are you worshipping? Who are you meditating on? Jaha Puja Kochal Taha Deko Vidyaman. Jaha Puja Taha Deko Vidyaman, the one you're worshipping, look, I'm present here. I'm standing here. Look, I'm present. Vidyaman, I'm present here. Look. Sir, blazing fire. Open the door. His samadhi bhange, his meditation broken. Deki Birashane Boshiache Bishambar, Chaturbud Shankar Chakragara Padmadhar. He sees Deki Birashane, Shranta Saraswati Thakur. Oh, I went on to verse 260. How could you possibly stop at verse 259? I mean, who said stop at text 259? It was right in the middle of the moment. He opens the door, he sees him. We're not meant to know what he sees. Deki Birashane. Boshiachin Vishamba Virashane Boshiachin. He's sitting in the Virasana. The lotus that is described by Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, you can read it. It says it's Padashan with the Jnana Mudra. It's Virashana. Padasana with Jnana Mudra. He's sitting like that with forearms. Shankar Chakra Pada, Shankar Chakra Gada Padmadhar. What a deity. Well, someone like to make that deity for us? I think you could do it. Sitting, Padashan, forearms, Sachinandan, long hair, Navadip Chandra, forearms, Padashane. He saw Virshamba sitting like a hero, holding a conch, disc, club, lotus in his forehands. He was roaring. Oh, I won't go on again. That's it. We can leave that for next week. Dekia hoilo, kampa shiva sharire. Kampa sharire is trembling. Dekia hoilo, kampa shiva sharire is trembling. Stabda. They're completely speechless. Hoilo, shirash, kichinash. So you can read that in the next week, going on in that. So that's where we're up to. Any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much. Thank you so much for such an interesting class. Thank you for summarizing the Kanda that led to the pastimes that we are reading now. Thank you so much. Dear devotees, if you have any questions or comments, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for coming and summarizing the chapter. It was very, very nice. Very grateful to you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Any question?
Anyone has any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danut Pranams. Thank you so much for your wonderful class and so much realizations. So Prabhuji, there are so many books on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and sometimes the pastimes, they seem to vary between these books, and also some I don't know, I've heard that they are not bona fide. So can you shed some light on this?
Chaitanya Charamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, stick to those.
How about Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanya Charita?
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of reading. Even Chaitanya Charamrita, that's enough for a lifetime.
Right.
What is bigger than Chaitanya Bhagavat? So, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, probably just stick on one. Chaitanya Charamrita, the best, is Prabhupada translated.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhupada also expressed interest to translate Chaitanya Bhagavat. In Kolkata, he was discussing that with Jagapataka Swami and Bhavananda Prabhu. He was discussing with them about translating Chaitanya Bhagavat, but he decided to translate Chaitanya Charitamrita. So in any case, Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he wrote commentary on Chaitanya Bhagavat. So it's highly recommended. And Chaitanya Bhagavat, Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur recommended his preachers read, and Prabhupada was interested to translate it. So they would be priority books. Chaitanya Charitamrita, number one, Chaitanya Bhagavat, number two. After that, whatever you got time for.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much. The reason I asked is some pastimes we hear of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from some other sources. In hearsay, like how do we know whether it's bona fide or not?
Well, anything that's in Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Bhagavat, that's bona fide.
Thank you. Thank you for your wonderful association and inspiring us all to read Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, and it makes a great difference when we read the books with the viewpoint of giving exams. So something stays in the mind, just not grass level reading. So thank you for encouraging us for that.
Thanks for the feedback. I appreciate it. I'm glad to hear that you find it valuable. Any other questions? That's Parameshwari, Devidashi. That's question on this evening's topics.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanvat Pranam. Prabhu, I have a question. I mean, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has chosen specific devotees to show himself as Krishna, and rest of them were always, he was a hidden form. So, why did he choose certain devotees? First is that question, and secondly, what is why those specific devotees specifically, and then why not the rest of them in that case?
Yeah, what can we say? It's hard to speculate. Why Srivas Thakur first? It goes. The order is quite interesting. It goes first. He shows to Srivas Thakur and Srivas Thakur's family, brothers and their wives and everybody. They all seek this form of the four arms and they worship. And then he goes to Mahaprabhu goes to Advaita Thakur's place with Gadada Pandit. And when Mahaprabhu sees Advaita Thakur worshipping Sri Hari so ecstatically that Sachinandan, he falls unconscious. And so Advaita Thakur immediately takes the articles for puja that he was worshipping Sri Hari with, and he begins worshipping Goshundar. And he's laughing, and Gadada Pandit says, oh, well, why are you worshipping? And Acharya Thakur says, you think he's just a boy? You don't understand. He's the avatar for the age. And Gadada Pandit said, what? So in this way, Advaita Thakur and Gadada Pandit, they get the realization that he's God. Srivas Thakur is just seen. And then sometime after that, Nityananda Prabhu comes, and then Advaita Thakur, he comes back from Shantipur. And in this way, the Panchatattva come together and begin performing pastimes. And that's the order that it's in. I mean, why it's in that order, we don't really need to know. It's just how it is. So go to Modu Lila Chakane Praveshila Rido Nirma Bhalo. Just by hearing it, you're purified. That's the idea. You hear it, you remember, you see the pastimes. Monodiye Shunobhai Sri Chaitanya Kotar. Monodiye. With attention, Shunobhai. Listen, brothers and sisters. Sri Chaitanya Kotar, to the descriptions of Vrindavan Das Thakur. Jai Bhakta Shange, Jai Lila Koilo Chota Chota. Bhakta Shange, Jai Lila Koilo Chota Chota. Those pastimes he performed with his associates as they one after another, Chota Chota, as they happened. So by studying, by hearing it with attention deeply, monodiye, you can see, especially if you hear the Bengali and understand. Then the poet, the Vrindavan Das Thakur, he's poetically, he's revealing, this yatra goyanti mad bhakta tatra tishtami narada. I appear where my devotee is glorifying me, and he's glorifying in Bengali. There's beautiful language, beautiful poetry. It's incomparable. The English hardly can compare the concepts, the way that the poetic beauty in which the Thakur, he presents the emotions. So you just hear it, you feel the presence of Gaudhari through the glorification of the mouth of Vrindavan Das Thakur. The closer you come to that, the more intimately, the more attentively you absorb your mind in that, the more you feel the presence of Gaudhari in his pastimes. That's the Thakur's mercy upon humanity. Krishna said, Toma Krishna dite paro, Tomar shakati ache, how he can give. Because it's through his poetry. That's an art form, a kavi. His art form, he's offering that beautiful poetry to please Sri Hari. No other objective. To glorify Sri Hari with beautiful, eloquent verses and eloquent poetry. In Bengali, it's beautiful. The poetry of Vrindavan Das Thakur. Krishna, Krishna Lila, Bhagavata, Kohe Bed Vyas. Krishna Lila, Bhagavata, Kohe Bed Vyas, the pastimes of Krishna and Vyasadeva. Chaitanya Lila Vyas, Vrindavan Das. He's a Vyas Muni. So what an empowered welfare work for humanity. What is his welfare work? You hear what he's writing. You hear, the more you attentively, the more you absorb your mind in hearing it, the more you feel the presence of Gaudhari. So there may be different descriptions, just like Chaitanya Charitamrita is describing the different people went to, they mention 3 people going from Katwa, from Navadip Shantipur to Puri. Nityananda Prabhu, Jagadananda Pandit, and Mukunda Datta. And Chaitanya Bhagavat mentions an extra person, 4 people. And there's differences, but what does it matter? What does it matter? You're just hearing it, you're feeling that you can do the pastime in different ways. Nitya Lila, it's going on all the time anyway. So you can do it in different ways simultaneously. Maybe there's even other ways going on you haven't heard. But that doesn't matter. All of it, by hearing it, Shravana Dishuddha Chitte Koraya Udaya, just by hearing it, we feel his presence. Shinvatam Sakata Krishna, Shinvatam Sakata, eager to hear Sakata Krishna, Punna Shabana Kirtana, Rudyanta Ashtohi Badrani Vidunati, that will please you. Just by hearing about him, you please him. You get, he appears in the heart. Vidunoti Shatam, Tadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. I give the Agyana Tesha Maha, Agyana Jamtama Nashayami Abdabhava Ashto, Gyana Deepena Vasha. Give knowledge, give the realization. Why? Just because you're hearing. So hearing, we were discussing about the Tapan Mishra hearing. What's the sadhana? What's the process? What's the goal? And incidentally, Mahaprabhu just briefly instructed Tapan Mishra at that time. And then he said, you go to Varanasi, and then 10 years later, more than 10 years later, Tapan Mishra was there, and Mahaprabhu came and instructed Sanatana Goswami, and Tapan Mishra heard the whole detailed. That's why I told him to go to Varanasi, so he could hear the whole detailed thing, but that was more than 12 years later. Shall we conclude for the evening, all respected scholars of the Bhagavata?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. Prabhuji, I have this question, like we know that Nityananda Prabhu is the transcendental form of Adishesha. We have like Mahavishnu, like always coming with his Adishesha as in various pastimes, like with Sri Rama, Lakshmana, and with Krishna as Balarama. Here is coming as Nityananda. So in every pastimes, like the Prabhu, the transgender form of Adishesha is always there from the beginning with the Avatara. But why in this Caitanya Lila, Nityananda is Prabhuji is coming very like in later pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Prabhu? Why he's not there from the beginning?
He's there in the form of Vishwarup, who is Nityananda Prakash, Vishwarup. So Vishwarup is there for Mahaprabhu's first 13, 14 years, and then he accepts sannyas. So Vishwarup, and Vishwarup plays important pastimes, and he's Nityananda Prakash. So that's, yeah.
Okay, so we can consider Vishwarup Prabhu as like Adishesha only from the beginning with the Lord.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
There's a question, Harita.
Yeah, it's me only, Prabhu. I was only asking you.
Thank you all very much. We'll conclude at that point. All the best. Vidya Bhakti Labho.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Dear devotees, let us please pray our obeisances to Prabhuji. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Chaitanya Bhagavat ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, His Holiness Shri Atul Krishna Das Prabhuji ki jai.
Hare
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you. We are ending the call here. We'll meet again tomorrow.